Guidelines. The top half of the first page of any resume is the most important part of a document. That's the place you gotta hook them. You gotta hook them right in that top half. It's so critically important. I don't care if you use my format or not. If the top half doesn't get it on the first page, you're probably lost. I want to recommend a font of 11 to 12 point, but you can go to 10.5 smallest. Now this is kind of some random stuff about formatting, but this is really important stuff. Full margin justification with a 1-inch margin all around. Use full justification from your Word software. Make it really, it looks like a legal document when both sides are margin. It really looks attractive. If you need to, go to a 1/2-inch margin all the way around. You're going to be putting a lot of information on one page. And for those of you that I know that may be skeptical about the idea that I can't possibly fit all my information on one page, yes you can. I've worked with a lot of people and we can do it. We can get there. Sans serif fonts are preferred. Sans serif means without a tail. So Tahoma, Arial, Verdana, Calibri, but Times Roman, which is a serif font, is fine. It's used in formal documents. It's used in all the legal documents. I prefer to go with an Arial, Verdana, Calibri because it's squared off. It's really easy to read. It goes through the software really nicely. No script. Do not use any script. Don't use any fancy fonts on a resume. This is actually more of a young person's mistake. It will work against you. If it does not read, it will eliminate your resume. It'll actually go and convert it to all that little Greek, you know, you see the little tiny squares and dashes and stuff. That's what the reader, the end user will get, and you're eliminated. No borders and no tables. I got to tell you, all the time, it's amazing how many times I see a resume, and tell you a story to illustrate this point. I had a friend of mine call me up one day, and she is a world-class, I mean world traveling the globe consultant for one of the big four consulting companies. And all of a sudden, she wasn't getting any work. And she called me up and she said, Rick, I don't get it. All of a sudden, 3 months, I haven't had a call. I mean, she's been in Australia, she's been all over Canada, the United States, all Europe, the whole bit. And I said, well, Suzanne, send me your resume. So she sent it over, and I called her up, and it was like scolding a child. I called her up and I said, Suzanne. She's like, what? I said, you've got your contact information in the header. Guess what, guys? The software does not read the header. She was sending over a headless document. She was sending up this great, amazing resume with no way of contacting her. Do not use the header. Do not put your information in the header. Use it. Make sure your contact information lands in the body of the document, okay? Footers are fine for putting page numbers and stuff, whatever. No borders, no tables. I had one guy I worked with too, same thing. His resume was entirely set up in tables, and the software does not read them. So he was basically sending off just an empty document. And this guy was an engineer in Houston. Engineers in Houston get jobs, they turn 3 down a week. There's so many jobs. And I was like, this is crazy. Why aren't you? And I looked at his resume. It was all in tables. I went, there's your problem. And he changed it, and boom, started getting calls. No logos or artwork. And I'm sorry to graphic artists. Worked with one young man out of Atlanta who's a graphic artist, and he's phenomenal. And it broke his heart when I told him, I said, dude, conservative is really important. This is an ultra-conservative document. Once you get the appointment, once you get the interview, the offer to go meet, go in with all the guns. Go in with the pretty stuff. And he really did. He had an amazing resume. His name ran up the side of it. And it was really well laid out, really neat. But it will not make it through the software at this point. You got to first break through and get the touch point.